So in this video, I'll be going over the 5 best ways to fail in owning or buying real estate. That's right, not the 5 best ways to buy real estate, but the 5 best ways to essentially screw this up. And this video idea came from a video that I saw from Alex Hormozi on idea, which he took from Charlie Munger, who, if you don't know, is the vice chairman of Berkshire Hathaway. And Charlie Munger had a famous talk entitled How to Live a Miserable Life. Now, the reason behind Charlie wording it this way was due to a process called inversion thinking, which basically boils down to solving problems in reverse. You see, human beings are much better at pointing out problems than they are at finding solutions. So inversion thinking helps you locate the solution by essentially listing all the ways you could do something wrong and then just doing the opposite of that. The example that Alex gives in his video is if you're looking to have a good marriage, instead of asking the question on how do I have a good marriage, you instead ask how would I destroy my marriage? And from there, you would of course list all the ways to destroy your marriage, and then you guessed it, just do the opposite. So quick shout out to both Alex and Charlie for this video idea. So if this is your first time to the channel, you may be asking yourself, what makes me qualified to talk about this topic? And that's a fair question. So let me just state that I've sold over $50 million worth of real estate. I currently own a portfolio of investment properties valued at around $5 million. And my team and I have successfully handled around 1,000 transactions. And along the way, you can bet that I've made many mistakes, and some of my own clients have made some of these mistakes as well. So my hope is that my pain and the lessons that I've learned from those mistakes and learning them the hard way will be of service to you moving forward, so that you won't have to make those same mistakes that I did. So let's get started with the list. And as always, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell for more weekly property tour and content videos like this one. Okay, so the number one way to fail in owning real estate is to put it off until tomorrow. I know this one is super simple and obvious, but sometimes it's those simple and obvious things that stand in our way from failure and success. And we all know that one person that when we speak to every year, they say they're going to buy real estate or invest in real estate, but every year it's the same story and nothing ever happens. Trust me that these people have every intention of wanting to own real estate one day, but before they know it, 10 years go by and they didn't accomplish anything that they set out to do. So more of the story, don't put it off until next year or even until tomorrow. Instead, make a commitment and start now. I mean, right now. Don't even finish watching this video. Go hunt for properties and find that great deal that you've been looking for. But if you want to completely fail and never owning any real estate ever again in the future, then putting it off until tomorrow is a great way of doing so. Which brings me to number 2 on the list of ways to fail in owning real estate, and that is not knowing your numbers. Now, you may be thinking that this has more to do with investors than it does homeowners, and to an extent, you're right. If you're buying real estate as a business, especially if you plan on making a return on this business, a great way of failing is to not know your numbers. And I'm talking about the key terms like cash on cash return, cap rates, DCR, understanding how financing works, etc. Most people don't like math, and they get overwhelmed by all the data that they're expected to know, so they don't even try to understand this vital information. Yet, you would be surprised by how many people, not knowing this information, go out into the market with the hopes that they will miraculously buy the right property because their cousin or family member told them that it was a great deal, and it ends up just being a financial nightmare. Shocker. But homeowners, you are not exempt from this either. You may not have to know all the numbers to the extent that an investor will, but even if you're going to buy the property and just live in it, understanding what you're getting yourself into can save you from a future disaster. Knowing such things like how much will this property rent for, and if that rent is over your monthly carrying costs, will be the difference between foreclosing on the home in a very difficult situation or not. Especially in the event where if for some reason or another you need to move out of the property, but the market is not in a good enough position to allow you to sell. Not knowing your numbers means you can't distinguish between a good deal or a bad deal. So if you want to buy the wrong property and lose a ton of money and time in the process, then not knowing your numbers is a great way to start. And speaking of not knowing the difference between a good deal or a bad deal, that brings us to number 3 of great ways to fail in owning or buying real estate. Now, it may seem that number 2 and 3 are pretty much the same, and they do have a lot of similarities. However, not understanding the difference between a good deal and a bad deal means that you're going to spend an eternity looking for one because you don't even know what you're looking for. Many times I show my clients the perfect home or investment property. It literally hits all or most of the wish list items that they have. I'm talking about price, location, style, return, the whole 9 yards. But the problem is that we find these properties very early on in the home buying process, which is not a coincidence. But when we find this property, they don't pull the trigger. Why is that? Well, it's simple. A confused mind never buys. So if you don't know what you're looking for, and by that I mean you haven't researched the market, the prices, the estimated return on the investment, then when I tell you that this is the deal of the century, it's going to pass right on by you, and you're going to claim that it can't be that good of a deal because you haven't been looking long enough to know the difference between a good deal or a bad deal. As a real estate agent, I've seen so many bad deals in my career that when I stumble onto a good one, I know it immediately. And these good deals don't just come quick to people like me just because we get lucky. No, it comes quick to us because we know exactly exactly what we're looking for. So if you want to spend an eternity looking for properties and ultimately get overwhelmed and quit, then a good way of doing that is to not know the difference between a good deal and a bad deal. Real quick, guys, if you're finding value from this video, that help the channel out by liking this video before we get into the last two. Okay, so number 4 on the list of the best ways to fail in owning real estate in the future is to listen to everyone else's opinion but your own. More specifically, I'm talking about taking counsel from those around you that don't own real estate. I've always found this comical because I don't know how taking advice from someone on something they've never done would be practical. This goes for anything in life. I have a very simple rule, which is I don't take advice from someone who I wouldn't trade places with on that subject I'm taking advice from. In other words, if that person is not doing better than you in that area of your life that you're trying to improve, then just don't take advice from them. Simple. And in real estate, 2 of you could not own any property, but if you're at least the one that is trying to learn about getting better as a buyer, which you are because you're watching this video, then that automatically puts you further down the road in the success column or whatever it is that you want to call it. If anything, you should be the one equipping and resourcing your friend or person who asks you to help them because you're further down the journey of becoming a property owner. So if you want to fail and never becoming a property owner or owning any property in the future, then holding other people's opinion in higher esteem than you hold your own, especially those that are not ahead of you, is a great way to do so. And lastly, number 5 on the best ways to fail in owning real estate would be to time the market. I honestly love this one because depending on who you ask, this may be on the list of ways to succeed in real estate, believe it or not. So a lot of people think that they can time the market. They're going to say things like, the market is too high right now and it's going to crash and prices are going to drop, and then and only then will I buy real estate. And guess what? That happens, the market does drop, and you follow up with this person to see if they're ready to buy real estate, yet they are not ready, stating that the market will drop even further and that they prefer to wait. Before you know it, that dip in prices or that drop that they were expecting, that they waited all these years for, all but came and went, and now the market is hot again and they're back to waiting. It's a vicious circle. Why? Because no one can, at least not with any long-term success, try to time the market. You may get lucky and buy the right property at the right time, but that has more to do with happenstance than it does with your own skill at timing the market. The important thing to note here is that over a long enough time horizon, prices will go up, and all you have to do is wait. Look, I know that it's not ideal to buy at the top of the market, and if you can, of course, avoid that, but it's not the end of the world if you do and if you get a good deal. And as long as you're in it for the long haul, which is probably the most important thing that I always tell everybody. Having the ability to wait it out and see that return has more to do with numbers 1 through 4 on this list than it has to do with anything else. So if you want to fail in never owning any type of real estate, then definitely, by all means, try to time the market. And whatever you do, do not spend any time in the market, which hint, is exactly what you should be doing if you don't want to fail. So guys, I hope this helped you see some of the problems in a different way, and at the very least, to help you think outside of the box of what you're normally taught. It's all about taking action, which if I could sum this entire video up into one thing, that's exactly what it would be. Take action and you will succeed. Don't take action and you will fail. The choice is up to you. Thank you all for watching this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that notification bell. And as always, guys, I'll see you all next week. Take care and God bless.